Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Somos Moss, the official podcast of Somos Moss NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Biddle. Joining me this evening, we have the one, the only FC.
That's it's not how it goes, but okay, I'll take it.
Jacob Terrell. Jacob, how are you doing this evening? No special guest this evening. I'm a little disappointed. How's the baby?
Yeah, no, she's good. She's just asleep or going through the nighttime routine already. Like normally that's the case. I don't know what scenarios led to her being on the last couple times. I know one of them was an early one, recording after a match, but no, everybody's doing good still. Just still dealing with some adjustments with the bigger kids, but no, everybody's doing good.
Good. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it indeed. Yeah, I know it's always a huge change whenever a little one comes into the world. And so, glad that Maggie and Allie are doing well. Glad that you seem to be well rested.
Oh, I'm glad I seem that way. That's good.
Okay. We have no idea where Earl is this evening. We really don't.
This evening, last week,
yeah.
Really, at any given moment, I don't really know where he is, except for when I have to deal with him for work. I did see him Thursday at work.
Oh, okay.
I had to go to Santa Fe.
A rare in-person sighting.
Yeah, I had to go to Santa Fe for something, and he was in the office there. So talked to him for a couple minutes there, and then we had to go our separate ways. And I don't think I've heard from him since then, actually.
Yeah, I don't think he's even texted. I know you and I have been texting, but
I know as far as work is concerned, his department was pretty busy today. So
yeah, I mean, and that's just that's the way it is sometimes. Sometimes our lives get busy. Sometimes we have new girlfriends. Sometimes we have new babies. Like it's just, I mean,
I missed one pod for the new baby.
Yeah,
I was on the pod at the hospital on the road.
You were going to get food at the hospital, and you were still made the pod. So, yeah, no, it's been an interesting few weeks. Again, we have no idea where Earl is, but we have a big show tonight. And let's just we'll go ahead and kick things off and say congratulations to the Denver Nuggets for sweeping the Lakers. LeBron, hopefully you're done. Farewell. So long. See ya.
He's not done.
Probably not. He's gonna wait 2 years and then retire after he plays the Bronny. So
yep.
Jane Lilly over in the chat. Jane, how you doing this evening? Glad to have you in the chat with us. We're going to get into some stuff here in just a moment. I do want to start off this evening by asking you, Jacob, did you watch any of the Open Cup action this week?
I have LAFC on my phone right now, and I did watch the second half of Red Bull's FC Cincinnati, and then on into extra time after. I mean, stop me if you've heard this before. A Troy Lesesne-led squad scoring late in the second half to force extra time in the U.S. Open Cup. I don't think that's happened before, has it?
No.
Has it? Nah,
never happened before.
Surely not. Radar!
Yeah, you mentioned, the New York Red Bulls and FC Cincinnati went 1-1 through extra time with the penalties, and unfortunately FC Cincinnati are the ones to advance 5-3 on penalties. Again, technically not a loss for Troy. Troy is still unbeaten in his stint as the New York Red Bulls head coach. So congratulations to Troy on that. Unfortunately, they didn't advance, though. So other Open Cup action so far this evening. Inter Miami beat Nashville SC by Earl by a final of 2-1. And as you mentioned, LAFC, LA Galaxy are underway currently. And then Houston Dynamo are currently leading 4-0 over Minnesota United. So that is your Open Cup update for this week. There will be some more matches tomorrow evening. We might talk about those next week since there are some USL Championship clubs still playing tomorrow night. So we will get into that. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about Troy here for a minute. Troy obviously named head coach of New York Red Bulls a couple weeks ago, unbeaten in his stint there. There's been some great articles that have come out, some great things have been said about Troy and have tied back to his time here at New Mexico United. I mean, what are your thoughts on his on the beginning of his tenure at New York Red Bulls?
Yeah, I think without having been around him, Red Bulls have done a pretty good job of promoting him. I mentioned in a tweet the other day that it's still kind of surreal seeing Red Bull's tweets with quotes from him as their head coach. It's kind of crazy and pretty awesome, honestly. And so with what we've seen through them through their Twitter account and stuff like that, and then the play on the field, I mean, it seems like the players have really taken to him and are playing hard for him and doing what Troy Lesane led teams do, and that's fighting and just competing minute after minute, and it's led to five unbeaten, quote unquote unbeaten after tonight, and so they just keep getting some results, and I expect them. I mean, is it 9 clubs make the postseason in
MLS? Eight or nine. I'll have to double check that.
It's a lot. It's a lot compared to how many teams there are. So I would be I would be
I take back what I said about you not being tired.
Yeah. I would be semi-surprised if they don't sneak in there in the East, and so yeah, I've been pretty excited with how they've been playing. I haven't been able to watch a whole lot of them. I watched a little bit of this one. I watched a little bit of their last regular season match, and yeah, it's just I'm super happy for the guy. I get happier after every match, and hopefully they can. It definitely sounds like he's their guy. Like, I don't think he's going anywhere. He's not. It doesn't. I don't know. He might have an intern tag at the moment, but he's not.
I would be shocked if they don't offer him at the end of the year.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's their plan. That's everything that I've heard from Extra Time and on MLS Twitter is he's their guy, and they're going to stick with him. They're not looking for another big name already. They're going to leave him in there the rest of the year, and hopefully that leads to some success for him.
Yeah, in New York Red Bulls currently sitting 2 points out of playoff spots. You were correct. There are 9 clubs from each conference goes to the playoffs. So, yeah, I mean, Troy's got them playing well over his first few matches, and maybe hopefully they can keep it up there. And Troy, we wish all the best to Troy and his wife and their family. And so, yeah, really great to see Troy. And again, go check out. I believe the article, the most recent one, was on the actual Open Cup website or U.S. Soccer website. Go and check it out. Great read, great quotes from Peter Trevisani on that one. Really go check that out. Great reads, really great ties. It talks about Troy's influence here, starting the academy, the diversity fellowship, and so yeah, just again, hats off to Troy. We wish him all the best in New York, and we will definitely be keeping tabs on him. I might even try to reach out and see if we can't get him on at some point.
That'd be cool.
That would be very cool if we could get that. Who knows? Maybe it'll happen. So I do have ESPN ties now.
True.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I got to interview today Bob Brown, former host of the Locker Room here in Albuquerque on 101.7 The Team. That was really cool for me. And I talked to Bob Brown, talk about the Al Unser Museum. Going to have an article coming out here this week about that. So keep an eye out for that. So
that part's cool. The Bob, I can't stand Bob Brown.
No,
you couldn't stand him when he was on the air. Never listened to him.
Really? Okay.
Really?
So see, when I moved out here and I first started, I tried listening to local radio. That Bob was the first, like the sports show that I found that I had keyed in on.
I mean, that makes sense.
And then the guy that came after Bob was
and maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should give Bob a little of a break. Maybe it's just me and sports talk radio in the first place. Like, I just don't. I don't care for it a whole lot. So, but he just, I don't know. Never met him as a guy, but his takes were terrible, which makes sense why you gravitated towards him. I mean, your takes are questionable at times too. So I just put the link to that article on US Soccer on the website or in the comments on both YouTube and Facebook. So if you're watching or listening, you can go check that out. Well, maybe if you're listening, we can put it in the podcast description as well.
Moving on, this is not something that we put in you and I discussed in the pre-show, but I did want to ask you,
By the way, the pre-show was a text about an hour ago with me asking what's on the rundown and Seth saying this is on the rundown and me saying okay, cool, and Earl being nowhere to be found.
Yeah, exactly. Premier League. Gotta ask. Number one, are you happy with Tottenham's finish this year?
I mean, what kind of question is that? Of course I'm not. What the fuck is that?
I just had to ask. 2 losses in a row. You got Leeds United coming up. Please.
I hope we lose.
Please tell me you're going to beat Leeds.
No, I hope we lose so Leeds stays up. I want Leeds to stay up. I want the American English team.
There.
No, but you still have McKinney and Aronson and Tyler Adams there. So I want the American team across the pond to stay up. So again, sit Kane, sit Son. I just don't even. Actually, never mind. Just play those because we still won't win.
Yeah, please just beat Leeds. That's all I'm asking. Beat Leeds. And Everton, of course, have to beat Bournemouth. Win and we're in. I hate that. I hate it. We're winning and we're in.
Oh my god. That's at least I'm not there. At least I'm not there.
I wasn't expecting us to pick up points against City. I certainly didn't expect that. I didn't really expect points against Newcastle. I expected better against Leicester. I expected better against Wolves. So, I mean, Everton's future is in their own hands. Like, I don't even know. I'm going to be sitting on pins and needles all weekend long watching that one. Yeah.
Can we talk about real quick? I wish David was in the chat, but I don't think he's here yet. But David is going to have like the most horrific run of teams finishing in second place, especially if Miami makes it to the finals, which I'm sure they will. But then Denver ends up beating them. I mean, just a brutal run there. But I have to ask, would you rather have like a run where all your teams are middle of the pack or below for 3 years straight? Or would you rather have like basically a run where every championship you have a team in it, you just don't win the championship?
Honestly, I think I'd rather have extended periods of consistency and performing well and making the playoffs.
That wasn't one of the options.
Because eventually, I know, eventually one is going to pay off.
What the fuck? What's one of the options?
No, it's
you can have 2 calendar years where your team in every sport that you follow makes the championship but loses, or 4 calendar years of just mediocrity.
I'd rather make the playoffs. I'd rather make the playoffs and lose than not even sniff them.
As a Timberwolves fan and a Rockies fan, I would tend to agree, but I just think of like, see, that's the only thing about I've never had a team make it to the championship and then lose.
Yeah.
Aside from the 07 Rockies in the World Series, and so I can't imagine what David is feeling with the Union. Who else was it? The Union, the Eagles, Arsenal now, possibly Miami. I think there's one in there that I'm forgetting. The Phillies. Just a terrible run of bad luck there in finals. But with Arsenal officially bowing out and not being able to catch City. I don't like City. I really don't. I love Erling Haaland. He was one of the reasons why I started following Dortmund, that and the black and yellow, and the fact that they hadn't won the league 7 times in a row like Byron has. And because of that, man, have you watched any in the Man City games?
Only when they played Everton, but
they've figured it out since the holiday break, basically. I mean, they just have been annihilating teams, and I hate it. But at the same time, it's actually kind of fun to watch, and I hate myself for thinking that it's kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, you hate watching teams that are just like running away with things. You hate watching teams that are just really, really good. But at the same time, it's like you watch them and you go, "This is what I want," Yeah, I just you look at City, and I know City has some issues.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they're under investigation for so many counts of whatever, but it's funny how the Premier League and people around it like yell and scream about things. Like City with all their issues, all these investigations and whatnot, they're still top of the table because they've spent $18 billion on their roster.
Yeah.
And then you've got Everton who are struggling to stay up because we can't buy anybody at all, and people are screaming because they're wanting our investigation to be done, but no one's saying anything about Man City. So it's just really weird. Like I wish Everton were doing better. I hate watching clubs like Arsenal and City and even Newcastle. Like I hate watching them because that's what I want my club to be. But I'm engaged. I'm watching them because I like what they're doing. So yeah, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough when your team is not in it. And yeah, I think I'd rather than be there every year and not win than not be there at all. But
Understandable.
Understandable. All right, so yeah, I know I said that was not on our agenda today, but I did want to ask. Premier League does end this weekend, but there's still plenty of football to go throughout the rest of the season, rest of the calendar year. But coming up first for New Mexico United.
So hold on, we're going to talk about the Premier League, where the only thing that's really left in flux is if your team stays up or not, but not the fact that Byron, who's won the Bundesliga, I don't remember exactly what the number is, but it's an outrageously amount of years in a row, is really, really dangerously close to not winning it. And Dortmund, the lovable stepchild, all they have to do is win and they win the title. That's I want to shout because black and yellow is a theme, because of that. And Erling Haaland, like I mentioned the other day, and Reina and Bellingham, just a lot of young talent over there. Pulisic came up through there. They're a fun club to kind of root for, and the fact that this might actually be the year, knock on wood, is really exciting to me and really kind of crazy. And other than, in fact, I think that might be like the only title in the Big Five that's even up for. Like even in flux right now. So
I think you're right. Yeah, I think it comes down to this weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, it's win for Dortmund and they win the title. They can still win it with a Byron loss as well, but I hope they just go out there and win and get to celebrate.
Let's see, who do they have this weekend? Dortmund has
Mainz.
Okay. And
I don't know who Byron is.
Cologne.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, if you had to put money on this, who walks away with it?
I think Dortmund. I think they can go into Maine, or they have Mainz at home, and so I think they can. Something just feels like this is their year. Like Byron was like 6 points ahead here, 2 months ago, and things have just fallen perfectly for Dortmund, and it just kind of feels like a destiny type year, and so I think they go in at home and they take care of business and get to celebrate with their home fans.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, lots of football to watch. Some really good matches coming up this weekend, all around the Big Five, as well as the MLS and USL. Again, for us, the big one that we're focused on is San Antonio on Saturday evening. That is at San Antonio, and I was talking on 101.7 this afternoon about the form of United in the run up to this match. 4 matches unbeaten. We've gone, I think it's 4-1-1 counting Open Cup since the Colorado Springs match. And it really seems like we're starting to figure things out. And so I said that this was kind of a benchmark for United here. San Antonio, obviously one of the best clubs in the USL, one of the best clubs in the Western Conference. And realistically, they're coming off an inexplicable loss to Detroit City, if you ask me. But I think that they're still, I think they're a tremendously dangerous team. And this is one that I'm hesitant to say that we could potentially pick up points at.
I'm not like the way you phrase that. I'm not hesitant to say that we could potentially pick up points there. I might be hesitant to say we are for sure going to pick up points there, but I think anything is kind of possible. I mean, we have beat San Antonio in San Antonio in the past, specifically in the playoffs, and so and they've proven this year that they're not. I mean, they had that 7-0 win against Charleston, but they're definitely a little more vulnerable this year, or seem to be a little more vulnerable this year than they were last year, especially. So I'm not saying we don't have a chance. I think there's definitely a chance. It's just a matter of if we can put it together and play like we've been playing, as opposed to like the Austin match. The Austin match was pretty ugly, but if you can come out, and I think if we come out and play how we've played in the last 3 home games, or in any of the home games, or in the last match against Loudoun, then I think we've got a pretty good chance of coming away with at least a point.
Yeah, you talk about Loudoun, and that's a match that we talked about it last week after the match, and we did a lot of good things in that one. Particularly, Sergio Rivas has really been popping off the past few weeks, and he's a guy that I mentioned today on the air as well. And I watched Sergio, and I think this is a matchup that Sergio could potentially take advantage of. While San Antonio does have size in their back line, I feel like if they get turned around and facing goal, I think that they have some serious issues. Because we have guys like Sergio who, as he's been driving some deeper positions on the field and getting forward, he's finding areas where when defenders, when he's forcing defenders to face their own goal, Sergio's able to make different moves, different runs, and get himself in the position to either play a good pass or get a decent shot off. And so, I watch San Antonio and I see a little bit of vulnerability there at the back. When you look at them, what do you see as a potential weakness for them in this matchup?
Well, it comes down to health. They've had a lot of health issues this year, and so depending on, I didn't check their last match to see who all was back, but if they're fully healthy, I struggle to find a spot where they're gonna have a real weakness. Obviously, trying to get anything past far is tough. They've got pieces in the attack that have caused us problems in the past. And then with Tainter there in the back line, shoring that up if he's back, they're just a solid team. And I mean, they showed that in a 7-0 win just a couple weeks ago. Now, as for the 1-0 loss in Detroit, yes, that's kind of strange, and nobody really that I've seen has been able to really explain that, other than Detroit scored an absolute banger, and San Antonio, while they kind of controlled the match, they just never were able to find the back of the net, and sometimes that just happens. So I'm not coming out here thinking that they're gonna be easy to pick off after that loss. In fact, they're probably going to be a little pissed off, would be my guess, after losing to Detroit City in Detroit City there. And so we'll just have to see. But, I mean, talk about just 2 really weird back-to-back games for them. I mean, to go 7-0 in Charleston, who leads the East, to 1-0 loss to Detroit City, who, if I remember right, was dead last when they played.
They still are,
if not still are. Yeah, still are dead last. So just a really weird situation there. And so we just kind of have to see who's out there. And I'm trying to look up their last box score to see who was playing for them against
I pulled
Detroit
it up.
City, and
Tainter played last week. He was there. Pirano was there. Dylan was there. Adeniran was there.
So basically, they're a team.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, I don't know why, but they kind of shit the bed against Detroit City. But it's I mean it's gonna be a tough one, and so but they've proven to me though that they're gettable. So I'm hoping that we can find a way to get something past them.
Yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a tough matchup. I'm looking through their results here. So both of their losses so far have come on the road. One to Lou City, one to Detroit City. So at home they're still unbeaten, and I wouldn't say we've necessarily played well at Toyota Field. And I think, if I remember correctly, last year we won there, they won here, if I remember correctly, or was it the
we drew there?
That's right.
And they won here.
That's right. But yeah, Toyota Fields is not a place that I liked for us that I like to see us play at. We don't typically do well there. Obviously San Antonio fans are still upset about a ghost handball a few years ago. But yeah, it's a tough match. Now, up and down this lineup, San Antonio has a ton of talent. They've got guys who've featured all across the USL. It's just they've got a tremendous roster, and Alan Marcinez got them playing really, really well. I look at this and they have so many options. So this is going to be a really big task for whoever's in our back four, specifically because of the fact that we're going to be missing, we believe, Caleb Ryden, who at this point is still going to be serving a 1-match suspension for a double yellow card last week. There was a report from David Carl last week saying that the club is going to be trying to appeal the red card, or the second yellow, I should say. But we haven't heard anything on that. I have reached out to David this week about a couple things. I have not heard back from him yet, which is a little unusual because David's usually pretty quick on the response. So we're hoping we'll know something prior to Friday as far as Kalen's situation. Now, the league does typically announce when something like that does get rescinded. But looking at the options that San Antonio has, who do you want to see in our back four if Kalen's not there? And what do you think they have to do to slow down guys like Dylan and Adeniran?
Yeah, I think Seymour is going to be a obvious choice back there, and then to replace Ryden, it's kind of up in the air. Like you mentioned, Sam in our group text. I mentioned Kelowna. Those are kind of our really only options as far as center backs are concerned, unless you shift Yearwood back into the middle there, but I don't think that'll happen. So I think it'll be one of those two. I'm thinking, especially because of Adeniran and Dylan's size, that Kelowna might be the better option there. Even though he's inexperienced, I say, hey, kid, you wanted this. You're going to get this. Welcome to the USL. I know he made an appearance against Loudoun, but as far as a start, it's like, all right, well, go out there and face the defending champs and see what you can do. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we end up doing in this match and kind of chalking it up to, hey, look, we're down one of our best center backs. We are kind of behind the 8 ball here. Let's see what we have with Kelowna and go from there.
I think it could be really interesting if Kyle starts. Young guy coming out of I believe it was San Diego State.
San Diego State. Yeah.
He's got some size. I think he's 6'2", 6'3", somewhere in that neighborhood. And so the limited action that he's seen so far, I've been impressed with what I've seen. I think he has the physicality to hang with San Antonio. So I think that could be an interesting shot. If you don't go with Sam at the back, I think Kyle could be the option. Jane Lilly over in the chat. Zali might have been a decent choice, but oh well. Yeah,
we talked about that too.
Yeah, we did mention that last week. Would have been nice if Timothy Zali had been here for that. So it's Zach certainly has a choice ahead of him for Saturday night. Who do you put in the back? Do you give the largely untested Kyle Kelowna an opportunity against a very dangerous San Antonio side, or do you go with the veteran guys that have been around longer? I think there's upsides to both because, I think if you throw Kyle in there, it gives him an opportunity to play against the best of the Western Conference and help him develop a little bit more. But the downside to that is because he is so untested at this level so far, it could be almost in a way a detriment if he does get burned. So, to me, I lean more towards the side of put the veterans out there. Let's see what the veterans can do against San Antonio. But I don't know. I just don't know. I'm not Zach. I wouldn't want to be Zach making this decision this week.
I think in order to keep continuity throughout the midfield and everything where Sam has been playing, even if he hasn't been starting or even if he doesn't start in the midfield in this match, I think Sam's versatility and part of that is his veteran leadership there. I think I would rather bring him in off the bench because that kind of allows you a little more flex. I mean, obviously, if he's out there and you sub somebody else off, you can move him around. But you put Kelowna back there next to Seymour, and then you leave Sam on the bench available to sub Kyle, to sub a midfielder, or you start Sam in the midfield like he has been all season. And then if you need to sub off Kyle, you can sub in somebody for Kyle and move Sam back there. I think I'd just rather go with some continuity with that midfield instead of trying to shift everything around and have Sam starting in the back.
Yeah, it's a lot of choices ahead of the match. I mean, I definitely want to. I think we come up with more of a defensive game plan than one where we see. I mean, I certainly hope not, but I think that's what we do. Kind of sit back, try to absorb the pressure a little bit, then break on and get out on the counter instead of trying to push the ball forward. I think that's what happens. I would like to be wrong. I would like to see us go out and play aggressive and try to get a goal sometime early in the first half. But I think this might be one of those ones where you're like, okay, San Antonio is one of the best in the conference. You go on the road, pick up a point, come back home for Devin Sandoval night. And I can't say that that's Zach's thinking. I certainly don't believe it's Zach's thinking. But as a fan, as a supporter, that's something that runs through your mind. You do want to see the guys, you don't want to see them obviously go down and lose because we are in a tight race already. But at the same time, like you look at San Antonio, and San Antonio again, very very talented club. So the odds, and let me see, I wanted to pull up the 538.
Would you rather, if we were only going to win one of the next two games, which one would it be?
El Paso.
Agreed.
I mean, really, if I had to pick between the two, I would rather beat El Paso, especially at home on Devin Sandoval night.
And the fact that you answered that quickly, the fact that I answered in my head that quickly, leads me to believe that we're not the only ones that think that way.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wonder if we don't see an A+ lineup today or Saturday against San Antonio, especially with Kalen already being out, maybe we don't see the top choices there to go out and start that, or to start that match anyways. And we might see what happens, and maybe we get some momentum at some point and we're still in it in the second half, and then maybe you see the top guys come out. But I wouldn't be surprised if we give them a little bit of a rest, especially because El Paso's going to be coming off 2 weeks rest before that match next Saturday.
Yeah. So according to 538, we are massive underdogs in this match on Saturday. San Antonio is predicted to win 57% in their favor. Oddly enough, we were actually favored on the road last week against Loudoun, which is kind of surprising because typically you don't see road clubs favored there. But yeah, 538 has no faith in us whatsoever. when it comes to this match.
Neither does the USL show. So
no, but then again, they never do. So
fair.
USL show seems to think that I don't know, we're second tier, I guess. But yeah,
they didn't used to be fair. It wasn't until last season that they started not liking us for some reason.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, a lot of our own fans didn't like us last year, so
yeah, that's true.
All right, yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily have anything else about that I want to talk about. So, I mean, do you have any other talking points you want to bring up about the match Saturday night?
No, not really. Just it's a big one, but it's not. Later, like last year when we went to San Antonio, we needed that point. And we were able to go over there and get a point. This year, especially with riding out and everything like that, if we go in there and get a point, great. If we go in there, I just don't want to go in there and get just absolutely shellacked. Which we don't have. Like you mentioned, the track record over there. We did get absolutely throttled there in 2019. We played the playoff game in 2020 and won. We played over there. We have won once over there, other than I guess it was just no. I think we won 2-1 over there one year. And then we have lost 3-0, and then the 1-1 draw yesterday or last year. So kind of a mixed bag over there. I don't think you can really put a whole lot of stock into any specific, trend as far as playing over there. So I think it's just a matter of if we can go out and we can play like we've played, the last 3 matches minus the RGV match, then I think we're going to have a pretty good chance of coming out of there with a point. If we play like we did against the RGV match, we might as well not even go because it'll be 5-0.
All right. So score prediction Saturday night at San Antonio.
1-1.
1-1. Okay. I don't like this one. I really don't. I think we have the ability to pick up the win, but I don't think we do it. I think this one is 2-1 San Antonio.
Boo.
David over in the chat. Prediction pain.
for somebody, for us,
somebody,
for them.
We mentioned you were maybe we said your name enough times, and we manifested you to come in the chat. David, while you're here, any news on the appeal of Kaylin Ryden's second yellow? If that is something that's been decided yet.
And also, how excited are you for another second place finish with the Miami Heat losing to the Denver Nuggets?
Now he's not going to give us anything.
I know. I'm sorry, David. I'm sorry.
He came up with that all on his own, David. I did not put him up to that. Need to check in with Zach. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we hear something like this. Yeah, got to beat Boston first. That's the thing.
If you blow the 3-0 lead against Boston, a team that, not this game, but 2 days ago, looked like they would rather die than play another game. That's sad.
Hang on. Where is my thing? Hang on. Apologies.
I don't know what he's looking for here. Heat and 5 for this series. Yeah, I believe you. Yeah, I know. It was 116-90. I follow basketball. I know these things, Seth.
I did. I was paying zero attention to the NBA today. So yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, the Celtics looked terrible through the first 3 games. So for them to come back,
as I don't follow the Celtics by any means, but I listen to Bill Simmons a lot, and he follows the Celtics. And if he's not happy with, or he already bought my flight to Denver. Nice, as you should.
I bought a flight to Hartford, so
nobody has ever come back from 3-0 down in basketball and I think there's only been 3 instances where they've pushed it to game 7. So, yeah, I think you're probably fairly safe.
David's buying flights to Denver. I'm buying flights to Hartford. Yeah, people are traveling. So
I'm going to the academy, I guess. That's my travel. I don't know.
yeah, you're going somewhere, So yeah, I'm gonna head out to the Hartford match here in a couple weeks. So that'll be fun. Gonna spend the weekend out there. First time, well, not the first time to a away game, but the first time I've been, that far for an away match. So that should be a lot of fun. All right. I mean, I really didn't have any other topics for this evening. You got anything that you want to bring up before we get out of here?
No, man. We can keep it a little short and a little sweet. Didn't have a game to really react to since we came on after the Loudon match last week, and so after the little off weekend, anyways, did you watch any matches, any USL matches over the weekend?
Honestly, I didn't. We had a pretty busy weekend. It was my son's birthday this past weekend. Logan turned 8. So we did birthday party. Yeah, we did birthday party on Saturday. And then my older son, it was the Yaffle playoffs this past weekend. The Highland Hornets beat Berlin 36-12 on Saturday. We advanced to the championship on Sunday, which that was a shit show. So, I mean, we were playing Cleveland in the final. We were up early. We went to halftime with a lead. Cleveland came back. We had a kid get hurt. Had to be picked up by an ambulance. Kid's okay. Possible concussion symptoms. Went through that. Had some players get ejected for fighting from both teams. Both benches were warned. We came back. We were down 27-26. Ensuing kickoff, Cleveland runs the ball back. Referees miss a blatant block in the back. Our sideline goes ballistic, and the referees called the game. Just then and there. Didn't even bother to finish the fourth quarter. Like 9 minutes left to play in the game. They called the game. So, yeah. The league has since apologized, saying they should not have called the game, which does nothing for anybody. So,
all right.
Well, thanks for saying you shouldn't have called the game, but it doesn't fix anything at this point. So, no, that's a long way of saying no. I did not watch any USL this weekend. I did watch some. I did go around watching some highlights of some stuff, but I didn't get to sit down and watch a full match of anybody. So, kind of nice actually to not sit down and watch anything over the weekend. But what about you? Did you watch anything? I know we had talked about potentially sitting down and watching some other games. Was there anything that stood out to you?
It pisses me off that El Paso is actually like solid now. I watched their game against Birmingham and kept waiting for Birmingham to do something, and they just didn't. I kept like the meme where the little kids are poking something with a stick, saying "do something."
Mm-hmm.
That's how I was with Birmingham. I imagine that's how Kaylor Hodges over there at USL Show was too, but they just didn't, and so El Paso comes away with a win there. I didn't really watch anything else. It started off really good for us. Charleston beat Monterey. Indy beat Colorado Springs. Miami was beating San Diego. Pittsburgh beat Vegas. And then San Diego ended up coming back. El Paso won. RGV did lose. Phoenix was able to pick up a win over Orange County. And Sacramento Republic got back to their winning ways and beat Oakland Roots. So it wasn't the best weekend for New Mexico United. Wasn't the worst weekend for New Mexico United. At the end of the weekend, we are still in a playoff spot. We are still have matches in hand on just about everybody that's above us. Actually, we do have matches in hand on everybody. We have at least one match in hand on everybody in the West.
Yep.
And so it's a good thing, good place to be. We can hopefully, San Antonio might be a tall task. El Paso might be a tall task with the way they're playing. But honestly, El Paso has won 6 in a row, if I'm not mistaken. To me, that just says they're due. Like they can't keep getting away with this. And so I think that match is definitely going to be fun. San Antonio, if we can come away with a point there and then get a win against El Paso, I think we'll be sitting really, really pretty there, and I'm excited for that. And so we'll see what happens in the week coming up. But yeah, last week was kind of a mixed bag, and I didn't get to watch as much as I had planned on it. Maybe get to watch isn't the right word. I forgot to watch. I changed my mind and decided not to watch. I don't know what you would call it. So yeah, well, not a whole lot there, honestly.
Alrighty then. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's going to happen that way sometimes. Like, we're not always going to have the time or necessarily the inclination to sit down and watch something, especially when our teams are not involved. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like we got, like I said, we saw matches in hand. Things are still looking good for us right now. I mean, theoretically, 2 wins and 2 matches in hand, we're sitting third. So, anyway, all that being said, I mean, if there's nothing else, Jacob, why don't you go ahead and get us out of here?
Cool, man. David and Jane, thank you over there. I noticed that the San Antonio boys were surprisingly quiet in the chat for it being a pre-match week going up against them, probably because they lost to Detroit City. Robert did message me on Twitter asking me if I was ready for the weekend. I did not reply because he's the major enemy until after Saturday. I'll reply after Saturday, no matter what happens. But no, it's a big game coming up. We'll see if we've got Ryden or if Kyle or Sam get to start back there, and see if we can find a way to come up with a result on the road against San Antonio. And then we'll be back here next Tuesday at 9:00 again. At least me and Seth will. And we'll see. Maybe we'll bring on not Robert, fuck that guy, but Harry for sure when we reach out to him, see if he wants to come on, win or lose there, and kind of break down that San Antonio match and look ahead to El Paso here on June 3rd. A big one there. I'm going to try to make it to that one since it's probably one of the last ones that I'll be able to make it to before I go to the academy. And so, yeah, we'll see that. So next week, 9:00. Cutting this one a little bit short, but you guys enjoy the weekend and the rest of your week, and stay safe out there. And until next Tuesday, guys, almost amigos.